some other and some others will also join us as we proceed. Sorry about the link, the first link that came. I was there waiting for the class to start. I didn't know another link would be created. And apologies for the mix-up yesterday too. It was one of those other days where so many things just came up and we couldn't meet yesterday. But it's fine, we are here today. We'll just take some few minutes and be watching to see if we have more people, then we can start. For introduction, I am Dr. Victor Oteni. I am one of your facilitators for this course. I am on this course with Professor Angol Naswen, the DCL for SS. So if he's able to join up, maybe much later, fine, and we'll see how that goes. But if he's not able to join us, I will do the little bit I can, and then we'll see what we can learn. The course itself is not a long course, so it will not be so stressful, and hopefully it will not be so boring too. So we have like 13 people, okay, 14, somebody just joined, and then 15, the number is increasing. So we may just wait for like another 3, 4 minutes and then we'll start. Thank you, and I appreciate your patience.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you so much. You're welcome. All right. I am thinking it will be a good time to start this class. Those that are not here with us will join us as we proceed. Yeah. So we will proceed with the class, and then those that are yet to join us will join us subsequently. This class is on social and environmental impact assessment. Most times when people have projects or community development plans in mind, you want to set up this, you want to build that, you want to establish this and that. So much noise is made about environmental impact assessment. How does what you want to do affect the environment? And it's a big debate, and in most cases there is the insistence that there must be an environmental impact assessment for any project or for any program to be approved, and for any project or any program to be executed. The thought of some other people is when a project is being set up and is being established, it does not only affect the environment. So why are we taking so much effort to talk about environmental impact assessment? We are human beings. These projects, these programs also affect our social lives. So while it is good to pay attention to the environment, to carry out an assessment of how a project will affect the environment, it is also necessary to have the social lives of people in consideration, so that we don't set up a project that disrupts the social lives of people. That is what this course is basically about. Try to see how our projects and our programs are designed and implemented with the lives of people in consideration, the social lives of the people in consideration. So if we are able to do that and we are able to exhaust that discussion, we would have achieved our goal for this class. Let me assume that my screen is up and every person is able to see my screen before we proceed.
Yeah, I can see your screen, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. If one
Hello.
person can see it, I know every person should be able to see it. So
Yes,
if
sir. Can see
okay,
it.
okay, that's fine. Thank you. So we will look at the course outline. The first thing is to even know what social impact assessment is. And like I said, because so much have been said about EIA, environmental impact assessment, most of our discourse will be on social impact assessment, which is SIA. So we would need to know what SIA is. It will also be necessary to know why we carry out SIA, and then we'll look at the steps involved in carrying out SIA. What and what do you need to do to successfully carry out a social impact assessment? Perhaps SIA also has advantages. We'll look at those advantages. Please, I hope somebody can hear me. Some people are complaining that they cannot hear anything.
I can hear you, sir.
Okay, fine.
So we can hear you,
I
sir.
can hear you too.
Okay, fine, good. Okay, so like I would like to confirm, if one person can hear me, it means every person should be able to hear me. So the person that is complaining about the audio can just check his or her system, and I'm sure that you'll be able to hear me too. Thank you. So if SIA has advantages, we'll look at those advantages. We'll also look at the challenges involved in the conduct of SIA. And we will round up this class with similarities and differences between EIA and SIA. Certainly, we'll be able to do this before the end of this week. And the earlier we get this done, we tidy up, the better for us. So we'll proceed. We'll look at the introduction and basically what SIA is. We said SIA is a process that has to do with the analysis. It has to do with the monitoring. It has to do with the management of intended and unintended consequences. Let me go back again and take it. It is a process that involves the analysis, the monitoring, and the management of intended and unintended social consequences of planned policies, programs, plans, and projects. And then we say that some of these consequences can be positive, can be negative. So let me ask, I think any person can just unmute and speak. Let us know we are still together in this class. I'll pick some things in this definition and see if somebody can throw more light to it. When we say it is intended or unintended social consequences, what comes to our mind? What do we mean? The floor is open to any person that would want to make a contribution. If you put up your hand now, I may not see that hand. Yes, Gemga, I see your hand is up.
Good morning, Doc.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
The intended and unintended social consequences simply means things you have in mind to do, and there's some things that may come unaware that you have to. That is to say, if you have project in mind to do, you should also know that there are some things that you come in contact with that are not planned inside you to touch. Then you have to, anything that comes, you know how to manage them. That is my little understanding.
All right, thank you so much, Gemga. Anybody has any other thing to say added to what we have learned?
Intended things are the things you have planned for.
Okay, the intended is what we have planned for.
Yes,
okay.
Unintended ones are the ones you have not planned for.
Okay. Unintended are the ones you do not plan for. So
yes, take for example, sir. Maybe in an agricultural setting in your farm, for example, you plant and then after planting, you plan to spray the chemical or things like that, or put a manure, it may be organic or any other one for the crops to grow. But along the line, when your crops are growing, you know that those challenges will come, weed will come, other things will come. You already planned for them. But along the line, maybe a natural occurrences may occur. At the point of that should be an unintended one. Things that can happen in policy. But if you, for another example, if you talk about the policy of a government, will affect the lives of the people, the plans may be good towards humanity, but in the time of executing that, the policy, maybe one or two things will occur, or the person who is translating the policy to become a reality may miss one step or the other and unable to do it the way it's supposed to be. That should be an unintended one and then the intended one too, sir. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, John. I appreciate that impact and that contribution. But I think we are on the same page. TV is just busy drawing things on my PowerPoint. TV, Raf, please. And now I know you will not be able to clean it. And I'm sure that every person can see red marks all over my PowerPoint presentation. I don't know how to.
So sorry, sir. So sorry, sir.
It's okay. That's fine. Let me assume that if I stop sharing and if I begin to share again, those markups will go. So I hope my screen is back up now without red marks. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
That
So the
was
other
unintended.
exactly, that was an unintended consequence. Now I don't know if it is social or not. Okay.
Yes.
There.
It's social.
Okay, it's social. Okay, thank you so much, Madam Susanna. Another thing that may interest me in that definition again, we said it has to do with planned policies, programs, plans, and projects. Why do we think it has to be with planned policies or with planned projects? And when we say it has to do with planned policies, projects, and plans and things like that, what comes to your mind? What do you think? Like before, any person can unmute and speak. Yes. Lucy, I see your hand up. Let me take Lucy. I see her hand up. Okay. Yes, Madam Lucy Woody.
Usually, when we are talking about policies, programs, plans, and projects, an example that I want to give is maybe an NGO sees that people need water in a place. They don't just go and sink borehole. They plan, they sit down, analyze the needs, what the people need, interact with the people to know that this is what they need, and then they now do the logistics of how to go and carry out that project.
Okay. Yeah. So okay, and yeah, somebody else wanted to say something before Lucy made that contribution. Let me take the contribution from the other person. Yes.
I wanted to say, we're talking about plans. So anything that has to do with planning is geared towards a calculated attempt towards this. So in the context of this discussion, they are talking about planned projects. I give example as other speakers are giving. they want to establish a particular factory in a place. So before they establish a project, they have to carry out a feasibility study, how the source of raw materials will be driven or be gotten, source of water, what they want to embark on. That is a planned thing. You cannot just carry a factory or a project where raw materials or the products that are supposed to be used by the company and site it where it is not needed. You cite a project where the best needs of the project will be driven. That's my call. That's a planned issue in project implementation. That's my submission. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. And let me ask further. Is it possible that the government will have policies or programs or projects that are not planned? And can somebody maybe just think outside the box and share maybe an example of a program or a project that is not planned?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. John.
Yes, one just happened in recent time that threw the entire country into a mess that is very difficult for them to clean up to this very moment. When this very government came on board during the swearing in of the Mr. President, within 5 seconds, he threw Nigeria into a mess that even up to himself cannot clean up to this very moment by saying fuel subsidy is gone. Fuel subsidy is gone without a proper planning. No machineries on ground that will cushion the effect of that pronouncement. Until today, it give rise to so many other things. Inflation skyrocketed as a result of that pronouncement. The monetary policy, call it too, becomes an issue as a result of that pronouncement of 5 seconds. He did not plan that with his people. He did not even come to the government to know, ascertain what actually is happening, what need to be on ground before we can do this. Like every other countries, if they want to remove such subsidy, nothing like that was done. He went ahead and says that whatever he wants to say, and today he has plugged Nigeria into a mess. That's my contribution, sir.
It's all right. Thank you so much. I'm afraid to discuss politics, but anybody has any other thing to say? Maybe projects or plans that are not planned.
I think you are covered by the classroom environment now.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You are covered.
All right. Thank you.
Disasters.
Okay.
Disasters are not always planned for.
Perfect. Perfect. Yeah, I think that is one thing that also crossed my mind. Jigba, you can mute. Thank you.
Sorry, sir.
No, it's fine. If we have a disaster now, perhaps there is flooding, I don't think anybody will really plan for that. When we have such a situation, we are just looking for how to evacuate people and how to relocate people and things like that. I am sure that if you tell people that are okay, sorry, Mrs. Beatrice, I see your hand up. Yeah, you want to make a contribution?
Yes, doctor. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, ma.
Good morning, colleagues. I want to comment on the issue of flooding. Usually, working with the relevant government agency like NIMET, individuals and organizations can actually plan, have a contingency plan in the event that there is flooding. And I recall that earlier this year, Benue was one of the states marked for possible flooding, and the alert was quite high. And we had a series of meetings and preparations towards a response in the event that the flooding occurred. Thankfully, it didn't happen as it was anticipated, but just to say that people can actually plan ahead in the event that something might happen, such as these natural disasters. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. That is well taken. We just pointed that out because the best we can do is to forecast. The best we can do is to plan ahead. And sometimes, even when you plan for these natural disasters, the dimensions to which they come may be different. Perhaps you are not even thinking it will affect so area, and then suddenly that area is affected. The truth is, it is not when somebody is already affected by these natural disasters. Who knows? Maybe a petrol tanker is just passing by the road and fell off, discharged its fuel, and unfortunately, there is a fire accident and it affects people. Something must be done urgently to save the situation. A plan must be put in place to get people out of the situation that they have found themselves. It is not at that point that you begin to say, okay, let me analyze, let me monitor, let me manage. That is not when to begin to carry out an SIA. At that point, you are trying to save a situation. That is unplanned. But when you have your data before you, like Mrs. Shomki have said, you are aware that a flood will happen this year. It would affect this place and this place and this place. It enables you to plan. And the moment you have the opportunity of planning a project or a policy, it means you should carry out an SIA. It should be part of the plan. For example, where are you relocating the people to? How will they settle in? How will this relocation, because flooding, you hear notices like people should live where they are, move to uplands. How is that upland comfortable to these people? What is the kind of social life they used to live in the places that you perceive a flood to be? For example, if they have a place of worship where they were, and you are asking them to relocate, leave that place because of flood, and you are carrying out a plan, are you planning for an alternative place of worship where they are relocating to? That's just an example. Everything that has to do with their social life has to be captured if you are making a plan. If you are making a plan, and all those plans you are making is aimed at managing the social consequences of what you want to do. And then we said some of them can be positive, some can be negative. Something happens and the outcome becomes beneficial to the people. Perhaps what you are thinking of is to set up maybe a factory. And you have built a factory and the factory is able to employ 1 or 2 people, 3 or 5 people, and they are able to earn a better way of life and make their family live more comfortably. That becomes a positive consequence of setting up that factory. But you could also set up one and the waste from that factory becomes another problem to the people. So while they are happy that there's a factory employing them and things like that, they have health challenges to take care of, which is also a social dimension. So we said the consequences of your project or your program can be positive, it can be negative. Most times we pray for positive consequences because we want life to be better for people. But we should just have it in mind that because it could be unintended, it means it can also be negative. And both ways, it can be positive also. Whatever we do has a way of affecting so many things. And I think we'll just look at those things briefly and see how we'll proceed from there. Even the type of population that you have can be affected by a project. The resources that are available to the community may be affected by a project or a program. The structures, the individuals, the family, the political situation, and whatever it is that is found in a community, which is their resource, could be affected by our program, by our policy, by our project, by our plans. So for population, your project or your program can alter or can change the kind of population that you have. For example, do you have people coming in to a community to work? I am sure that the moment you set up a big school, maybe a university, people from outside will come in. And that community, the population dynamics of that community will change. If you have more youths coming to the university, you would agree with me that the population of the school and the school environment will be more of youths. If it's a contract or if it's a building, if it's a whatever you are constructing, you need construction workers. They will come in and you have an influx of people coming into that community. That is already a change in the population. You have people going in, coming out as either refugees or immigrants. You have people that are either dislocated. When people are dislocated, it means they are cut off suddenly from their families or from their loved ones. If there is a crisis here and every person is running, certainly there will be a dislocation. People will leave, and sometimes it's even difficult finding out where the wife is or the children are. Maybe till the dust settles, and if God helps, you are able to find out where the other family members are. So dislocation could occur as a result of some of these occurrences. And then we also know that the social class is affected by one or two of our projects. Sometimes it even widens the gap of inequality between people. And some other times it is able to close down the gap and make people at least all enjoy the benefits of a project that would have been available to only a few. So these are various ways that our projects, our programs can affect the population. The population now will refer to the people that are living in that community where that project will be established. apart from the population, our projects, our programs also affect the resources that are available in the community. Just the natural resources, even the land, for example, that will be required for setting up that project is coming from the community. It means they are giving up something. So the natural resources of the community is affected, even the availability of housing, because we can't talk about land without talking about housing. If land is taken away, it will affect the housing. And now, besides that, I am also sure that there are some kind of projects that are set up and there is some kind of clearance. The people that have been living there would have to leave. And besides them leaving, you may even need to create some kind of distance between where people will stay and where the project is sited. So all of these will mean people living, it affects their housing, and besides housing, other things will be affected. If there's a police station and something has to be done, those people will have to move. If there's a health facility, if there's a sanitary plan, and whatever it is that was at the spot where you want to establish your project will have to give way. And those are resources that the communities have. So your project is likely to affect their resources. I am afraid of talking about historical or cultural resources because that is a very serious aspect of the lives of people. You will hear people saying, this is where the graves of our forefathers are. And they are so attached to places like that. Maybe somebody that believes in worshiping his own God has a shrine somewhere. The person is so attached to that worship, to that shrine. You can imagine what happens if you now tell the person to vacate that place. You want to use that place for a project or for a program. You know, the resources which that person has and which that person considers as very important to him or her will have to be taken away. So these are some of the resources that may be affected by our projects, by our programs that we want to set up. Sorry, I'm running through them. When I get to that point, we will know if there are questions and if there are contributions to be made. I usually like to stop from time to time, take contributions. We also have institutions and structures that may be affected by our projects, by our programs. Groups. If there is a youth group, if there is a women group, whatever groups that you have in a community, which is more like a structure, may be affected. Zoning regulations, our industries, we have talked about housing, cost of living, the economic activities in a place may just change suddenly because a project or because you have a major work going on in a community. These economic activities may be positive, may be negative, but it has a way of affecting the lives of people. It has a way of affecting the infrastructure that is present in a place. And we even talked about opinions and beliefs. your opinion may change with time as you interact with people or as you interact with things that have not been what you are used to. For example, if you have your belief, you have your own way of doing things, you may just need to come across somebody that has a different way of doing that thing. And let me also add, apart from a different way of doing that thing, if that different way of doing it is a better way of doing it, you may begin to change some one or two things about you. You may need to take another position that will reflect the superior knowledge that you now have. So, with the influx of people, with projects going on, you know, even people that will say they are villagers, they are now mixing up with people that are coming from other places. Their beliefs, their opinions begin to change, and it has all of these dynamics that affect the lives of people. It also has its own effect on individuals. It has the effects on families. You know, their culture can also be affected. We just talked about influx of people as a result of a project or a program. These could have a way of affecting the culture of people. It could have a way of affecting their religious practices and all the other things they do. It will also have an influence on their way of life as it has to do with cooperation or with conflict. Because the truth is, sometimes as human beings, there will be disagreements. So conflicts will arise as a result of this project or these programs. And sometimes there are also places of alignment where you have cooperation and things like that. It affects the politics of a place. Crime, public health, safety is also affected. It could be positive, it could be negative. I know there was a time a construction work is going on close to where I was staying. And almost every day you have people coming to steal one or two things from the construction site. Good for days that are favorable, and some of them are apprehended and things like that. Even if they are apprehended or not, we have incidences of crime, incidences that have to do with public health. You are thinking or establishing a project and it is having an adverse effect on the health of people around. On entertainment, all of these can be tampered with if anything happens and the social lives of people is being disrupted. Well, for political, I'm thinking it's very easy. The power distribution, the leadership capacity of a community may be affected as a result of these resources. You know, with time, maybe with more enlightenment, even the authority that people have will begin to leave them. I am sure that maybe for those of our people in these rural areas, in those years, in those days, in those many years before now, the authority that these our traditional rulers wield and hold is not as strong as the authority that they have now, because people are being more enlightened. People seem to be learning more things. You know, it is not everything that they tell you that you accept for yourself. We have arrived at a point where we can even learn things on our own. So when the elders are telling the younger ones, don't do this, don't do that, they already have something else in mind because of the kind of influence they have, the kind of people they mix up with, the kind of things that technology and other things would have helped them to achieve. So though sketchy, these are areas of life that may be affected by a planned project or by a planned policy. Let me pause here and see if there is any question or if there are contributions to be made to what we have discussed so far before we go into the aspects of SIA. If anybody has any question or any contribution, we could go ahead and we'll take those questions or those contributions. And if there is none, I think I can just proceed. Like I said, I do not intend the class to be too long, but we'll also exhaust perhaps our 2 hours at least before we call it a day. So no questions. We'll go ahead and look at the key aspects of social impact assessment. What are the key aspects? What are the things that we should have in mind? The things that must be incorporated into our SIA to make it meaningful and successful. Number one, we can't be talking about social impact assessment if we cannot identify the impacts we are talking about. How do you assess something that you do not know? So the first thing that should come to mind is the identification of these impacts. That is the first thing. Because it is when you identify an impact that you can even begin to assess it. And then you can begin to think of how to manage it and things like that. So in every way that our proposed project will affect the life of people, every way it will affect the life of people should be identified. It is when we identify them that we can assess them and that we can know how to handle them. So that is the first thing, identification of impact. How does this affect people's culture? How does it affect their well-being? How does it affect the overall stability of the community? Every impact that the project will have on the people will have to be identified. That is point number one. Point number two has to do with stakeholder engagement. I am sure that for some of us that had cause to take one or two programs or courses, you would have heard a lot about stakeholder engagement. That is because for every decision that has to be made, people will be affected. And if people will be affected by what you do, it means that the opinions of those people is very, very important and should be considered. Even these impacts we are talking about, it may be easier to identify some impacts if we engage with people, if we engage with stakeholders in that community. they are the ones that may have some of this knowledge of what and what happens in the community that the person coming from outside will not have. So stakeholder engagement is very, very important. So the views of the people must be captured, must be listened to. They have something to say. Listen to their views, listen to their needs. What and what would they need? Listen to their concerns. They are the ones that will tell you, if you do this, it may affect this and this. If you do this, this is how it may affect us. And these are the reasons why we may not be comfortable with what you want to do. So their views, their needs, their concerns should be considered if we are making or taking any decision that has to do with them. So we have talked about identification of the impact, and then we have talked about the engagement of stakeholders. The next thing has to do with mitigation and management. The idea behind SIA is to know these impacts and to be able to manage them so that the social lives of people is not so disrupted. So if we are building an SIA, we should have it in mind that whatever we have identified as impacts, we should be able to also come up with a plan to manage. For example, it is likely that this and this will happen. If this and this happens, what do I do to minimize that negative impact? That should always be in mind because these things could happen. So if it happens, what do I need to do to minimize that negative impact? That is the mitigation and the management that we're talking about. So every strategy that you take to either minimize or avoid negative impacts are welcome. So you tell yourself, I will need to do this, I will need to do that, I'll need to do this because I don't want these negative impacts to happen at all. But if they happen, at least I should be able to mitigate or minimize their negative impacts. But like we stated when we started, some impacts can also be positive. So while you are thinking of minimizing the negative impacts, you should also be thinking of maximizing the positive impact. So where something will be beneficial, you boost it, you maximize it, you make sure that every person gets the positive impact of the project. Where the impact is negative, you do your best to minimize, to cut it down so that people are not really affected by that negative impact. And then the fourth thing is that you must continually monitor your project. It is not a one-off stuff that you just say, okay, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to do, these are the negative impacts, this is how it should be mitigated, and things like that. You engage stakeholders, and then you go and sit down and you go and rest. It is not done that way. We call it ongoing monitoring. So the social impacts that your project will have on people should be monitored all through the implementation of the project. Now, let me pause here and ask, because if I ask any question, I am sure people will not answer. But let me ask, why do we think it is necessary to continuously monitor an intervention all through the life cycle of a project? It is an open question. Any person can just either raise your hand. If I see the hand, I'll call you, or you can unmute and speak. Yes, Afayam, why do you think it is necessary to continuously monitor throughout the project?
Okay, sir. For me, why I feel monitoring should always be ongoing is that project there's a plan for it. So when you monitor, you ensure that what is going wrong is adjusted before the end of the project cycle. That's just the simple answer.
All right, thank you. Any person has any other thing to add to that? Yes, ma. Mrs. Shomki.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you, Doctor. I think it's important to monitor projects like Fanyam said, there's what the project is intended to achieve. So you want to ensure that you are on track and you are being able to achieve. And then it's also important to be able to identify the unintended consequences or outcomes that the or impact of the project. So so if the project is having a negative impact on the community or the target population, then there will be a need to review the strategy and see how to mitigate that impact on the community. So for me, it is two things: ensure that the project is on track and achieving the intended outcomes, and also to be able to arrest and mitigate the impact of any unintended, unforeseen negative impact on the community. Thank you.
Hi. Thank you so much, ma. This thing that mommy had said, but if it was in a class, usually when I teach a class, I'll just say, let me have your registration number. I should have awarded marks, because I think it covers basically most of what we have discussed so far. Yes, Manasseh, I see your hand up. Let me take your input.
Good morning, Doc.
Yeah, good morning, Manasseh.
Yes, as she rightly pointed out, I wouldn't have keep my hand again. I would have lowered it. But I just really want to add that it is always good to monitor any project, because during the process of implementation, there are times, no matter how good the project is, maybe we may meet some gaps that need to be taken care of in order to make sure that within the specified time, that project is being carried out as it ought to be. But if we are not monitoring, and maybe there are certain gaps that is filled into the project, we may not know, and that will make the project suffer the more. So I think there's need for monitoring of a project to the latter. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful. I'm pleased that my class is active and we are following what we are discussing. So the truth is that there are consequences that may be unintended. And if you are not monitoring what you are doing, you may begin to generate these unintended consequences. And you are not on ground to quickly plan for them, to arrest them, to mitigate them, and things like that. So your monitoring should be ongoing. It's continuous. As the project is on, you monitor, you follow what is being done every step of the way. So if we remind ourselves, we said the main things that comes in when you are carrying out an SIA first is to identify the impacts. If you do not identify them, you cannot do anything about them. Is there another hand raised?
Yes, there was a hand that was raised, but yes.
Okay, Samuel. Yeah, sorry, I didn't see the hand. I can take you now.
Good morning, Doc.
Yes, good morning, Sam.
What I wanted to add on what Fan Yam and Mrs. Somke said was that in a simple sentence, I want to add that the reason for monitoring projects is the fact that one want to maintain standard. Yes, the standard in terms of the quality of that project as the designer has intended to, apart from looking at the mitigation of the other aspect that they have just emphasized on. So that is what I wanted to add.
All right, perfect. Maintaining standard so that we don't do anything below the standard specified. Emmanuel Titi, I see your hand. Let me take your input.
Okay. Good morning, Doc.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, class. Doc, I think one of the reasons to monitor projects, it's one, the handler makes sure that the set goals and target of the project is achieved as not to misuse the resources of the project. By so doing that, it gives the project supervisor or whoever is in charge of the project to make sure that mitigations are properly checked as to make sure that every set goals of the project organization is organized. Thank you, Doc.
All right, thank you so much. I do not see any hand again. Or is there any person that has something to say that I have not called on? Okay, I don't think I see any. So the last thing we will look at today are the reasons for which SIA should be conducted. Why should we conduct SIA? And I'm even sure that based on our discussion so far, what SIA is, how it affects our social life, and the things we need to put into SIA, some of us would have been able to develop some one or two reasons why it is necessary to conduct SIA. Number one, you conduct your SIA because you want to understand the social consequences of your project. I think that is the basic thing. It is when you conduct an SIA that you can tell of the positive and the negative consequences of your project. If, especially as it has to do with the social life of people. You know, all our discussion is on social impact assessment. So even if that is not mentioned, the changes that we are talking about, positive and negative, are those that have to do with the social life of people. So if we want to help people, we want to be sure that our projects do not have negative impact on their social life, we must carry out this assessment. It is in the course of this assessment that we would know the positive impact that the project will have on them. it is also as a result of these assessments that we can identify the negative impact that it will have. And let me also add that it is in the course of your SIA that you can easily tell if an unintended consequence comes up. So both the positive, both the negative, both the ones unintended, all of them, they are factored in. It helps you to have a better understanding of all of these consequences. If I am too fast, any person can slow me down. If I say anything that is not understood, that is why we are here. Yes, Austin, you wanted to say something? Okay, so it means we can proceed. Okay,
Doc,
thank you,
sir.
sir. Yeah.
Doc, sir, please, I didn't actually get that number one. You said the reasons for conducting SIA is to, I didn't actually get it, but please, could you please come back to that?
Okay. Yeah, let me come back. Now, we started by saying that our projects, our programs can have positive consequences and can have negative consequences on people.
Yeah.
And in fact, there are consequences that may not be intended. You are not planning to do this to cause this harm, but your project has caused so harm. Now, how do you even know a positive consequence? How do you even know a negative consequence if you do not carry out an SIA? So, this is the meat of the matter. For us to even know that a project or a program has a positive, a negative influence on people, we must first carry out an SIA. So the reason we are carrying out that SIA is because we want to understand that consequence. Is the consequence positive? Is the consequence negative? Is the consequence something that you did not plan for? So the moment you are carrying out an SIA, you are gaining more understanding into the social changes that may occur in a community or in a place as a result of your project or what you want to do. So that is the reason. You want to know, how does it affect people positively? How does it affect people negatively? We can go ahead of that and say, okay, fine. So I think that is one key reason. You want to understand the consequences.
Perfect, Doc. Taking, sir.
Okay. All right. So the other reason we conduct SIA is because we want to promote what we call social equity. Social equity is a situation where we try as much as we can to bridge the social gap between people. Let us try to carry every person along. Let it not be as if this life is only for those that have the money. This life is only for those that have the influence. This life is only for some. In fact, some people will say it's as if some people escorted some people to this life. So we are just onlookers. We are looking at how others are enjoying their lives, and we are just spectators. Equity tries to aim at achieving a balance where the gap between people is closed at least to a point where every person in the community or in the society feels like a human being. So when we talk about stakeholder engagement as an aspect of SIA, every stakeholder should be consulted. So if you have people that are vulnerable in a community, for example, you also engage them. If you have people that are marginalized, if you have people that are marginalized, you also engage them. Now, the reason you are carrying out this engagement is because you want to know how your projects affect them. Thank you, Mrs. Ladi. Eche. Okay, thank you again for muting. I thought you wanted to make a contribution. So, if you carry out your stakeholder engagement and you have these marginalized
Thank
groups
you, sir.
in, all right, you are welcome. And you have these marginalized
Thank you, sir.
groups, yes, ma'am. And you have these people ably represented in your stakeholder engagement. What you are doing is already planning for them, knowing how your project will affect them, and taking steps to ensure that your project doesn't create a wider gap between them and every other person. So, if, well, in some cases, I can reduce my volume and say that women will always complain that they are vulnerable. I don't know how true that is, but when people say things over and over again, we try to believe that it may be true. So if we assume that women are vulnerable as they say, it means that in our plan, we should engage with women. This project or this plan I want to establish, how does it affect women? Is it positive? Is it negative? If it is negative, what do I need to do to bridge that gap of negativity? The moment I have those kind of thoughts in mind, I am trying to close that gap of inequality. And that is one thing that we achieve or we try to achieve during SIA. So the stakeholder engagement is not for show. Like I said earlier, your stakeholder engagement enables you to have the views, the opinions of people and things like that. It is not just having them to put in the bag. You are having them so that you plan for them. You make sure that they are also carried along in what you are doing, such that you do not leave some people marginalized even more than you have met them. So that is the second reason for which we conduct SIA. If there are no questions, we'll go to the third reason. I just saw a message. It's an interesting lecture. Well, we thank God we're having an interesting lecture. I think I'm enjoying myself in this class too. It's a lively class, and it has always been like that with my engagements with us. So that is the second reason. Reason number three why we conduct SIA is because we need to take decisions. And the truth is, if I do not know the situation of things, I will not be able to take decisions that are accurate or that are correct. So, if I have a detailed understanding of the social life of people and how my project will affect their social lives, it makes it easier for me to begin to make decisions that will be referred to as informed. I am not only guessing, I am now making an informed decision on the lives of these people. So, for example, because I have done my SIA and I know this is the impact that this project will have, this is the impact that this project is likely to have, and things like that. If I am taking a decision on that particular aspect, I will be coming from a superior standpoint. With the knowledge I have, it is easier for me to decide on what to do. But if I do not conduct an SIA, even if I have these negative consequences, they will come to me as a shock. It is when they come up that I'll begin to think, what do I do? How do I go about it? Okay, should I do this? Should I do that? And it becomes like a guesswork. And sometimes, if you are not careful, as you are trying to patch one place, another place is leaking. And then you are running to patch the other place, another place is leaking. Why not look at all the places that are leaking and then patch all of them before you drop water into the vessel? I am thinking it is a better approach because if I take a holistic view of the container and I know where and where is leaking, I can now take an informed decision. Okay, in fact, I can even decide where to patch first and where to patch later. Okay, this is more serious. Let me do this first. Later, before the impact of this will come up, it will take time. I can do this later. At the immediate, this is what I need to do. All of these are decision-making processes. And if you do not have the required information at your fingertips, it will be difficult to it will be difficult to address these challenges as they come up. Sorry, I'm laughing because I just saw a chat on the group. Um, sorry about that. You know, the truth is that during examinations, we are different human beings. So, even for my undergraduate students, even those I laugh and I talk to and I play with, if we get to an examination hall, we are completely blind. We don't know people. So if you judge people's personality by the interaction you have with them in the examination hall, you may just get a different or a wrong impression about them. So exams are exams and things like that. So sorry for those we shouted on during exams, for those who were not laughing with. It's because we were in an exam situation and we're just trying to maintain the sanctity of the exams. I am sure that if we had seen after the exams, you will know that it is not all about the exams. All right. Well, thanks for that message in the chat anyway. So I think we can leave this improvement in decision making. I'm sure we have stressed this a bit. So every decision you make should be based on the information that you have. And the more information you have, the more decisions you can make. For example, I know that if I buy a particular volume, is it volume now or quantity or cost of electricity in my house, it takes me about 2 weeks. That knowledge can help me to make an improved decision. Should I even on the AC? No, if I on the AC, it will not take up to 2 weeks. The moment it is drawing close to 2 weeks, something is already telling me, ha, I will soon need electricity. Oh. Even if you don't have money, begin to reserve money to buy electricity, else your house will be in darkness. Now, if I don't have some of this knowledge, I will not even know. And it would not help me to decide better. It will not help me to make decisions that will be good for me. So that is the third reason for conducting SIA. We say number one, it helps us to understand the consequences, social consequences that it would have on people. We also told ourselves that it helps us to promote social equity, and then we said it helps us to improve our decision making process because we have more information at the end of the SIA. Number four, we said that it is necessary to conduct SIA because we need to carry the community along. When we talked about stakeholder engagement, it is very, very important. When you carry out these stakeholder engagements and you involve the people in the community, you get their views, their inputs, their concerns, their suggestions, and things like that. The truth is that the impression they have about you becomes different. It will even help them to trust you more. Because the person that asks you every day, how are you doing? Have you eaten today? The natural assumption is that that person cares for you more. So the fact that you can come and sit with them and engage with them, listen to their opinions, pick their views, their perspectives, and things like that, it will help them to trust you more. It fosters this kind of environment of trust between the people that are implementing the project and the community. At least they should have it behind their mind that these people are planning well for me. That is why they are engaging me and they are asking me what my concerns could be. You know, you could just take the military approach. You want to establish a project here, all of you pack out, clear, I need this land. And you can even scare them away and then they will go. But the truth is that bitterness between you implementing the project and the community will last for very long. You know, I was with one of my very good friends some time ago. We're discussing about building and things like that. You want to build a house in a community, then the community will come up and say, okay, if you want to build this house here, this and this and this are the things you need to do for the community. And then you tell yourself, who is community that will be telling me to do this, to do that? Don't you even know I'm a military person? Come on, go and build my house. Let me see who can tamper with it. And I am sure that it doesn't ever end well because you can come and build that house in the morning. The community can come and demolish that house in the evening. And even if you come back the next day in the morning, you will not see anybody. You cannot arrest every person in that community. So it is good to create that environment of mutual trust, collaboration. You are coming in with your project, meet with the community, be of the same mind. That is the reason for the engagement. If they tell you these and these are our concerns, you should be able to tell them what you are doing to meet those concerns. Though out of this scope, but we must be real to ourselves. If somebody tells you, this is my concern, you are not going to lie to the person that you will handle the concern if you are not willing and not able to handle. If there are things you cannot do, you can politely explain to the person why this and this cannot be done. What are the alternatives to what the person is suggesting? You put everything down on the table. But the bottom line is you are able to build trust with the community and it helps you to achieve more as far as your project implementation is concerned. I will go to the fifth point. I don't even need to explain this so much as we wind down for for the day's lecture. If you carry out an SIA, like we said earlier, mitigating or minimizing of negative impacts is very, very important. It is not all about identifying those impacts. Somebody can identify, okay, this is the challenge that may come up, this is this, that is that. The next question is, what are you doing to mitigate that negative impact? What are you doing to make sure that those negative things that you are already seeing, those signs that you are seeing, as far as the social life of the people is concerned, is being taken care of? If you carry out a good SIA, apart from identifying those impacts, you must come up with a plan that will help you to minimize negative impacts. So, is it likely that more people will fall sick? For example, it may be a very distant example. But is it possible that if I do this, if I set up this project, more people will fall sick? What are the common kind of illnesses that may affect people as a result of this project? Okay, do I think of setting up a small hospital close to, or should the project carry a health facility as an attachment? Because if these people fall sick, they need to have treatment somewhere. Do I need to give them something in replacement of what they are losing? You know, these are different things that will run through your mind. But as you are thinking of all these things, the bottom line is this: you have identified negative impacts. You are doing all you can to mitigate those negative impacts. Is it through compensation? That is why I said, what are they losing? If they are losing anything, you can decide to compensate them. Even if you are not giving them exactly what they are losing, give them something that at least they will know that you care for them. Your project will increase, for example, mosquitoes, and you are sure that with mosquitoes increasing in an environment, malaria could come up. What stops you from distributing free mosquito nets and encouraging them? That becomes like a compensation. Okay, you are citing a project and it will affect their own natural course of water supply. They have their own way of getting water, but you know that whatever you're coming to do will pollute their water, will even make water not accessible to them. Why not compensate them by building boreholes for them? They come and fetch water and they go their way. Those are compensation. And where people will need to relocate, live where they are because of a project, because you know that project will have negative impact on them, you quietly, gently work out a relocation plan so that they leave places that have been marked as prone to danger or negative impacts associated to the project, and then you move them to safer places. Bottom line, if we identify a negative impact, the next thing is to mitigate or to reduce that impact so that it doesn't have a damaging effect on people. As we are trying to downplay the negative impacts, we also told ourselves that it's possible for the project to have positive impacts on people. So if I see a positive impact, I should be able to hammer on it. I should be able to put more energy into it. I should be able to maximize that positive impact because I know that positive impact is for the good of the people. So we said it allows for promoting aspects of the project that would enhance people's well-being in the social context now. So if your project can create jobs, that becomes a positive. You try to create as much jobs as possible from your project. Let them be happy about it. If your project will improve on the infrastructure, most times these days we are just waiting for one road to pass a community. And the moment a road passes through a community and it is well done, if you go back to that community in a few years' time, you will not know the place again. So all of these things are positives of our projects, bringing up new services and improving infrastructure and things like that. The moment we see the positive aspect of our project, we maximize it, we amplify it, we make sure that as many people as possible benefit from that positive impact of our project. Number 7 has to do with compliance with policy frameworks. That is because in most countries, in most places, what is most common, like I said, is EIA, Environmental Impact Assessment. But SIA is now coming up very strong because we should be concerned about the social life of people. And it is becoming a law in so many places. I wish we have that law entrenched in our own setting here in Nigeria to state categorically that before you set up any project anywhere, you must bring evidence of your SIA. Before you do this anywhere, provide evidence that you have conducted an SIA. Now, if we have that kind of law, it becomes a reason for which people will conduct SIA. Because where laws are properly kept, and we have a law, for example, if we have a law in Nigeria that before you set up any project, you must conduct an SIA, it means when you start a project and somebody comes up and say, can I have the evidence that you have conducted an SIA before you started this project? And you're already scratching your head. The project is already cancelled. And you know the damage that you would have run into. All your plans, all your expenses, everything has gone down the drain because you did not comply with the legal and policy framework. So, like we will see as we proceed, basically maybe not today, it may not be easy conducting SIA. It may not be cost effective as such because you will spend money, you will spend time, you will spend resources. All of these things are the shortcuts that people want to avoid. So, okay, let's just do it our way. Just forget about it. Let's just do it this way. But if we have a law that states that you must conduct SIA before you establish your project, whether you like it or not, whether it is convenient or not, whether it is expensive or not, because you want to comply with that requirement, you would need to go ahead and conduct the SIA. Reason number 8 is reduction of social conflict. I think we also discussed this earlier. Because you are engaging with people, you are finding out their concern. The resistance that you get from people or the conflicts that may arise as a result of the negative impact of your project will be less. For example, the people already know that this and this and this could happen as a result of this project. These are the negative consequences that could occur. You have already discussed with them. It is not taking you by surprise. It is not taking them by surprise. And you already have a plan in place to handle it. So, even if those things come up, the community, if they are sensible, will not take arms against you. They will not revolt against you because you have already had a prior discussion with them and you have told them This and this and these are the things that may happen. Okay, because you even have a backup in place, you begin to tell them, please, if you notice this or this, quickly inform so person or quickly do this. You have already put in place a backup plan that handles every concern that the community would have as a result of your engagement with them. Now, if you have all of this plan put in place, I can assure you that the social conflicts that will occur as a result of your project or your planned intervention will be less. It will even get to the point where if some members of the community want to give you headache, it is other members of the community that will rise up against those people and say, my friend, go and sit down. We have discussed this before. We have agreed on this and that. You know, there should be this easy and peaceful environment between the project implementers and then the community. Like we said, that peace cannot be overemphasized. If you do anything and you ignore the peace that you should drive out at the end of the day, you will have serious issues. And those are issues that can be avoided if we properly conduct an SIA and if the concerns of people are taken care of. Number last, and this is where we will round up perhaps for today, because we can't do everything in one day, is that when you conduct an SIA, it helps you to achieve sustainability of your project. The truth is, whatever you are doing is not for the moment, is not for now, because you're already thinking of what will happen ahead. What are the consequences of this? What do I need to do to put this and this in place? It means you are not planning for a project of now. You are looking into the future. You are aiming at the long-term sustainability of your project. And that is why we say you are able to plan. You integrate all the social aspects of the people into your plan. If you do that, the truth is you are not only thinking of the current people living in that community, you should have future generations in mind. So, like I said, you are not thinking of only today. Today, I want to build this. I want to establish this. I want to set up this, that. I want this project to hold. And you run into it thinking of today, and then you solve the issues of today. You are not thinking of tomorrow. You are not thinking of future generations. Those future generations may come up, meet what you have done, and revolt against you. And at that time, because you did not make a plan for them, you'll be thrown into crisis. I have seen situations where people will say, it was our forefathers that you discussed and arranged with. We are not part of that plan. Certainly, a generation may just come up that will not know Joseph again, and everything will scatter. But if you have a long-term plan and you have a sustainability measure, you're already thinking ahead. How do I get out of this situation in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, in the next 20 years? So SIA, as part of the plan, help you to plan for the future and helps us to attain sustainability in our project. So I will pause here for now and for today, but I will not leave without asking if any person has a question or has a contribution to what we have been discussing so far. Let me allow us to at least say something.
I have a
a question, sir.
Yes, let me take your question.
So I have
Thank
a
you.
question.
Okay, let me take your question, Nado.
My question is this reason for conducting SIA number 7 that you explained. So I want to know, is there any legal policy frameworks as regard SIA in Nigeria for now?
Thank you very much. You know, when I was delivering, I said I am not sure of for now. But
Okay.
I am thinking we can carry out a small research on that. What does the class
Okay,
think?
sir.
So please, it will be like a small classwork for us. Immediately after this class, everybody go and try to find out if there is a legal framework for SIA in Nigeria. It will be the first thing we will discuss as we reconvene tomorrow. But for now, I am not very sure. I cannot tell you what I am not sure of. Myself, I will go and do my research. When we come by tomorrow, we'll be speaking from an informed standpoint. Thank you so much for that question.
Sorry,
Welcome, sir.
sir. Some
You're
of us
welcome.
were absent-minded. Remind us of what we should read ahead of tomorrow.
She just asked the question that do we have a policy framework for SIA in Nigeria? And I said we should go and research on that. Find out if we have laws that compels people, project implementators, to first conduct SIAs before they start any major large-scale developmental project in Nigeria. I don't know if that is taken. It's just to do a small
Yes, sir, it's
research.
taking.
It's just to find out if we have those laws in Nigeria. That will be, yeah, that will be our is it classwork or homework? Now it's homework because we'll discuss it tomorrow. Jennifer, I can see your hand up. Let me take your question or contribution.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning, Jennifer.
Okay. Sorry, my network has not been stable. I have a question. I don't know if that was discussed before now, but I've been wondering, most of the projects we see around, before the projects are being implemented, SIA is being carried out, an assessment is being carried out, the needs of the people in the community. I think the stakeholders are being engaged to know their needs before the projects are being implemented. But my problem is why some of these projects get abandoned by these same people who were consulted and agreed that such projects should be brought to their communities. Very good projects that are supposed to help them, help the community. I see some of these projects being abandoned after some time. So I keep wondering what will be the cause. I don't know if anybody can help me with that. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you so much, Jennifer. I think she has a concern. What could be responsible for abandoned projects? I'm happy with the way she ended it. If anybody can help. So let me leave it to the floor. Who has a contribution to make in response to that question? Why do we think projects are abandoned? Jigba?
Okay. Very many times projects are abandoned because of political reasons. Or I think in the course of the discussion, they are mentioning stakeholders here. Politically, if some of the projects are completed, they may feel that the person who has initiated or brought those projects into existence, they may get or have the glory or the distinction credited to their name that they were the financiers or the sponsors of that project. So their heads may be high. So there are so many efforts being sponsored by some stakeholders to thwart the efforts of such projects. So I title it political drawback. There's one project in one. If I don't want to mention big, but I think we are covered by the classroom environment here. I kept saying.
Yeah, if you say we are covered, we are covered.
So there is political motivation. That's what I may say. And there are stakeholders that will be withdrawing back so that the whole thing will not get hurt. That's what I may say. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. I see 3 hands are still up. Tete, then Manasseh, then Fanyam. Let's go in that manner. Tete.
All right, sir, Doc. Sir, Doc,
Yeah,
I
ahead.
think this is a very interesting class. I must confess. I don't want to start by showering you praises because even all my undergraduate days and even up to this my master course, I've never had this kind of lecture. I must really confess, it's a wonderful lecture. Though your lecture is self-explanatory, and from what my fellow colleagues just asked, one of the reasons for abandoning projects is one, we all agree that corruption, number one, which leads to mismanagement of funds. Mismanagement of funds leads to abundance of projects, because I want to believe that when government gives out projects, even though they don't give you the complete funds, they give you take-up funds to at least take the projects to a level that you can complete it. But because of greed, and do I say greed or corruption, you see they abandon this project and it becomes an abandoned project. Thank you, Doc. This is my take, sir.
Yeah, let me take Manasseh now. Thank you so much for those warm words. I feel flattered, but I'm grateful. Manasseh.
Thank you so much, sir. I think your work has inspired some of us very much. Thank you, sir. For what she asked, personally, I feel that reasons why most projects are being abandoned is because of poor monitoring. I will give an example. When a project is being given and the people who are concerned in terms of carrying out the monitoring are not doing it, those who are doing that project may do it in a substandard manner. So if the stakeholders and the community look at it and feel that this project is not a standard we require, there may be agitations. There may be a rise in you must do the right thing, and that will automatically hurt that kind of project. The example I'm giving is there was a project, a road construction that was going on in a particular village. So they needed to do a bridge, not too big, but a sizable bridge that vehicles will be passing on, even trailers can pass through that route. This person doing this work now, decided to use iron 12 to do a bridge. The stakeholders now stood up and said, no, you cannot use iron 12 to do this bridge because we know the heavy lorries that ply this road. Use at least iron 16 or 20. The contractor got angry, abandoned the project, and went away. So there are certain things that because of the poor monitoring, supposing the person that gave that project was monitoring it, coming to find out what is happening, probably that project wouldn't have been abandoned. But because of the misunderstanding the person had with the community, the stakeholders who feel that if you are doing something for us, do it well, the project was abandoned. Till today, I'm talking. Thank you, sir.
That was the money they.
Thank you so
Another
much.
contribution, sir.
Okay, let me look around. I see Fanyam, your hand is up. Uzoma, your hand was up and went down. I will come and raise that hand
Okay,
up.
sir. Yes, I can still talk, sir. I can still talk.
I will still raise that hand up. But let me
sir.
take Fanyam, then I'll take all other contributions. Fanyam.
All right, sir. Okay, so Jennifer asked her question, and then the question, I think it's a double-edged question. The question is mixed with private and public project implementation. He spoke about need assessment. Private sector, the NGOs, they do need assessment, and then after the needs assessment, most organizations, what they do is they have a public, they have a project implementation committee. This also involves aggressive and very wide stakeholder consultation. In fact, at the moment, there are organizations that they are even recruiting people who in areas where if they want to have a project, the staff will go there and ensure that there is a local incorporation of or traditional incorporation of ideas of that place in that project. So you discover that when you consult wide with your stakeholders, that's government, vulnerable groups, including people with disability and a whole lot of them, you discover that you have a better idea of what that project should look like. So at the end of the day, you have those people, they own that project. You are only helping them to implement. They own the project. Now, when you come to the public sector, we have that pressure where we give our public holder that okay, as a senator, what have you brought for us? So you see, the senator will now go to his senate president and tell him, see, my village people they are mounting pressure on me, so I need a project in my state or in my constituency. Okay, what kind of project? These are the projects that are available now. So you now see that a project, for instance, is on sea. There is a federal government project. They have built an ICT and vocational center. I don't know in which of the local government, but it's not even situated in Otukpo. It is situated in one of these villages in one of the local governments in Zonsi. And then you are talking about expecting people from Benue State, from Nasarawa State, Kogi, and all of that to go to that village where there are no facilities, other facilities to go and learn vocation in that place. So you discover that most of the time, why this project fail is because they give us what they think we need, and then not what we want. So at the end of the day, they start this project and then they abandon it, or even after the completion of that project, people still don't go there because that's not what the people need, and then they were not carried along. So they don't own the project. They're not interested in going to where the project is. That is the reason why public projects fail. Why private projects are sustained even after and those people are gone. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Uzoma, you still want to say something?
Yes, I want to say something.
All right, please.
One of the key reasons why some of these projects are started and abandoned is the community leaders sometimes go through the back to go and collect some money, some form of compensation from these investors. Yes, they do it a lot. I've seen situations in some places where some community leaders will go to the investors and say, instead of coming to construct roads for us, instead of coming to do a public project for us, be giving us money per month. Every month, you pay us also amount of money. And then they agree with these investors. And because of that, when investors are giving them these monies now, these monies, they are supposed to use them to do projects in the community. They give to these community leaders. Once they settle the community leaders, of course, they see that they have settled the community, there's no need for them to do any other projects. And because of that now, they will go ahead with whatever thing they want to do in the community, and they will not do any public project that will benefit all the other people. So one of the reasons is because of the community leaders who go through the bank to go and collect compensations from these people. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. The reasons are coming plenty. I've not heard Rosemary talk since. I was just wondering why. Now I can see your hand. Let me take your input.
Okay.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, good afternoon, ma.
Good afternoon, everyone. So, okay, I think that lack of continuation is also a reason why we see abandoned projects. Because sometimes when there's a change in leadership, you observe that the new sheriff in town is not even interested in what has been built. He or she just wants to do something new, looking for ways to amass wealth for themselves too. So you're not interested in continuing from where the other person stops. They just want to do their own thing, something different. So I feel like lack of continuation or continuity is also a reason why we see abandoned projects. Thank you, sir.
Wow, thank you so much. Who has not said anything today? Me, I would have loved a class where
Hello,
almost
sir.
every person will have something to say. Yeah, Ted, I wanted to ask Mrs. Tongo to speak. I have not heard from Pastor Mrs. Momudu. I have not heard from plenty people. Busu.
You've not heard from Precious Ifan.
Precious, I don't want to talk your own self because. All right. Somebody else wanted to say something. Let me take contribution before Jennifer Ajato will tell us what she wants to say also. Yeah. So, any other contributions coming from anybody?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, Susanna.
Okay, there are so
Question,
many reasons.
contribution. Okay.
I'm trying to answer what Jennifer.
Jennifer. Okay.
Yes, there are so many reasons why we see abandoned projects, just like some of my colleagues have been saying. And I want to mention that greed also is one of them, and selfishness. Where I'm working currently, there was a federal government project that was carried out in that place, and the people involved, they use substandard materials. After that, there are some of the things they needed to do which they didn't do it. So when we had interactions with their supervisors as regard why is it that some of the things are not completed and done, what they told us was that these contractors are untouchable. You cannot touch them because it is high profile personnel that brought them. So you don't have to ask why things are not done that way. So I look at it as greed. Why is it that you are given enough money to carry out a project and you decide not to do it to completion? So that is my little contribution.
All right. Thank you so much. And I am sure that, well, except if somebody has something else to say, if we look at reasons why projects fail, for the next 5 years, we'll be looking at reasons. The reasons will not finish. Okay, Gemga, I see your hand. Let me take you before we call it a day.
Good afternoon, Doc. There's
Yes, good
a lot
afternoon.
of reasons, and some of them, my colleagues, they have said it. But again, I want to add to what Madam Susan has said. You see, politically, it is hindering a lot of things because when they want to award projects, they will call the contractor. Anything I say, you will do it. And first of all, they will divide the money that is meant for that project. Corruption. They They will divide the money. They will leave small portion of the distance to the contractor, and the contractor himself has friends. They must eat. They must meet in the joint. Then before you know, some standard material, parts of the project, they will be left over. They will leave them, they will abandon them. Nothing concerns them. And the supervisor, the people that are supposed to supervise them, already they have shared it. Then when they come, the next thing is yes, yes, yes. Everything is done. Yes, yes, yes. That's some of the reasons, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you so
So
much. I
another
think
one is community vandalization.
okay. Okay, that's community vandalization now. Well, if the community was properly consulted and carried along, do you think they will go and vandalize a project in their community?
Yes, there are some that will still do it.
Even when they were consulted and they agreed?
Yes.
Okay. Um,
That's
well,
that's that's
while we wind down, while we round up, I am thinking that although out of this class, one of the reasons why communities vandalize some projects could be because their money is not included in that project. And that's why most times when you hear of some of these projects, you'll be hearing of counterpart funds and things like that. They'll ask the community to contribute some amount of money for some project. It is not because the donor doesn't have the money to sink all those projects and complete everything he needs to do. But the truth is that, like I will tell people, if I see children playing in my compound and they are not around my car, I will not bother too much. Because if they go and scratch my neighbor's car, they will settle the problem with my neighbor. But if I see children playing around my car, I am telling, hey, 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 leave that place. Don't scratch that car. Don't even try it. The truth is, if people have something at stake and they know that their resources have gone into a project, the project becomes their own. I'm sure that maybe some other courses will discuss that in detail. But the idea is to involve people so that the project becomes their project. Whoever is going to vandalize that project, it is the members of the community that will go and look for that person and arrest the person. But for a whole community to stand up and vandalize the project, it could be because, number one, they were not carried along. It could be because their resources or their efforts are not going into that project. Nobody will destroy what will benefit him. This is where I go to work. You go and scatter my work for me. And you expect me to be happy. Even me as a person, I will rise up. I will say, no, nobody should scatter this project because this is where I get my livelihood from. So, by and large, I'm thinking the more you involve people, the more you sincerely listen to their concerns. Because the person that is going to vandalize that thing too may not just be a mad person. The person may have his or her concerns. Did you listen to their concern? Did you find out why they would even want to do something like that? Just like somebody said, high profile contractors. So it's just, hey, hey, I leave this place, want to do this. And I told us a story. You can go and walk in the morning. In the night, the community will come and walk and scatter it for you. You come back in the morning and walk, But if everybody is carried along and we maintain that peaceful environment all through, and we make sure that the concerns of people are listened to and attended to, even if you will have such cases, it will really be less. It will be less. Yes, Martha, hey, you can talk now before we close.
Good morning, good afternoon, sir.
Yes, good
So I
afternoon,
want to
man.
add that even lack of knowledge also attribute to the abandoned project because some people that the project are giving to them, they don't even have any knowledge about it. So that is what I want to add. Sir.
All right. Oh, thank you so much, man. And that is why
Thank you,
sensitization
sir.
is just good. It's necessary. to carry people along, let them know what you want to do, how it will benefit them, and things like that. Just get everybody to work together as a unit. That cooperation will help at the end of the day. So before I sign out, let me just ask, last, any other question? I don't want to leave with a question, although I have left us with an assignment. And I hope we'll remember to do that one.
We appreciate you, sir. Thank you.
All right, so thank you so much.
That was very brilliant, very,
my
very
question is that is there no afternoon class?
Thank you, sir.
No, from the way we have gone, we may not have an afternoon class.
Okay,
right?
sir.
We may
Thank
not have an afternoon class. We'll reconvene tomorrow by 10 o'clock.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
All right, thank you so much. I appreciate all
Thank
of
you,
you.
sir.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
sir.
you so much.
Thank you,
So
sir.
we'll see. You are welcome. So we'll see you
Thank you so
tomorrow.
much.
All right, thank you.
Hey, your part two. Part two, Alpha.